Hello friends, this is Gunjan Malviya from MTech IT 2K21 batch. In this video, we are going to discuss data science second internal paper. Question 1. Write algorithm for decision tree induction. Answer. Decision tree induction. Decision tree is a supervised learning method used in data mining for classification and regression methods. It is a tree that helps us in a decision-making process. The decision tree creates classification or regression models as a tree structure. Decision tree algorithm. Step 1. Begin the tree with the root node, say S, which contains the complete data set. Step 2. Find the best attribute in the dataset using attribute selection measure ASM. Step 3. Divide the S into subset that contains possible values for the best attributes. Step 4. Generate the decision tree node which contains the best attribute. Step 5. Recursively make new decision tree using the subset of the dataset created in the step 3. Continue this process until a stage is reached where you cannot further classify the nodes and call the final node as the lead node. Decision tree use multiple algorithms to decide to split a node into two or more subnodes. The algorithm selection is also based on the type of target variables. Let us look at some algorithms used in decision trees. ID3 extension of D3 builds decision tree using a top-down greedy search approach. Next, C4.5 successor of ID3 CART classification and regression tree. CHAID chi-square automatic interaction detection performs multi-level splits when computing classification trees. MARS multivariate adaptive regression splines. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. What is attribute selection measure? Explain three of them. Answer. Attribute selection measure, also known as feature selection criteria or split criteria, are used in decision tree algorithms to determine the best attribute to split the data at each node. Method 1. Random selection. Not a good method. It can lead to inaccuracy and may give wrong results. That's why it is not preferred to use this method. Step method 2. Using information gain. Information gain is used on the concept of entropy from information theory. Entropy measures the uncertainty or disorder in a set of examples. Information gain is the reduction in entropy or the gain in information by selecting a particular attribute or splitting. Node with lowest entropy and more information gain is selected as splitting attribute. Method 3 using Gini index. The Gini index is a measure of impurity. It represents the probability of incorrectly classifying an instance in a data set. A lower Gini index indicates a purer data set. A lower Gini impurity indicates a purer node and that node is selected as the splitting attribute. Question 3. Define and write mathematical expression of information gain, Gini index, and reduction in impurity. First, information gain. Definition. Information gain is a measure used to decide the order in which attributes are tested in a decision tree. It quantifies how well a particular attribute separates the data into classes. Mathematical expression. E equals to negative of sigma starting from I equals to 1 up to n into p of I into log 2 into p of I. Gain S comma A equals to entropy of S minus sigma mod of SV divided by sigma S into entropy of SV. Second, Gini index. Definition. Gini index is another metric used for evaluating splits in a decision tree. It measures the impurity or disorder of a set of data points. A lower Gini index indicates a more pure node. Mathematical expression. Gini equals to 1 minus sigma I equals to 1 to the classes into p of I का whole square, where C is the number of classes and the probability of class I is the proportion of data points in the node that belongs to class I. Third, reduction in impurity. Definition. In the context of decision tree, the reduction in impurity measures how much the impurity decreases after a particular split. It is used to assess the effectiveness of split. Common impurity measures include Guinea impurity. A lower Guinea impurity indicates a purer node. Entropy. A lower entropy signifies a more organized or pure node. Classification error. Like Guinea impurity, a lower classification error indicates a purer node. The reduction in impurity is used as a criteria for selecting the best split at each node during the tree building process. Mathematical expression. Del I equals to I of parent minus sigma I equals to starting from I equals to 1 up to k into d of I mod of d of I divided by mod d into I of I. Whereas I parent is the Gini impurity of the parent node, k is the number of child nodes after the split, d of I is the data set for the ith child node, mod of di is the number of instances in the ith child node. Mod D is the total number of instances in the parent node. I of I is the Gini impurity of ith child node. Question 4. Explain concept of overfitting and tree pruning. Answer. Overfitting is a common problem that needs to be handled while training a decision tree model. Overfitting occurs when a model fits too closely to the training data and may become less accurate when encountering new data or predicating predicting future outcomes in an overfit condition. A model memorizes the noise of the training data and fails to capture essential patterns. Key characteristics of overfitting include: first, high training accuracy, low test accuracy. The model may achieve very high accuracy on the training data but perform poorly on new unseen data. Second, complex model. Overfitting often occurs when the model is too complex, capturing noise in the training data. Third, memorization. The model may memorize the training data instead of learning the general patterns. Tree pruning. The tree pruning is a technique used in a decision tree algorithm, including those for classification and regression. Decision trees have a tendency to grow excessively deep, capturing noise in the training data and leading to overfitting. Pruning is a process of removing parts of the tree that do not provide significant predictive power, thus simplifying the model and improving its ability to generalize. Below are the two decision trees. One is of an unpruned decision tree and one is of a pruned decision tree. There are two main types of tree pruning. First is tree pruning, early stopping. This involves stopping the tree building process before it becomes too complex. For example, you may limit the maximum depth of the tree, the minimum number of samples required to split a node, or the minimum number of samples in a leaf node. Post pruning, also known as pruning after construction. This involves growing the full tree, and then removing or collapsing nodes that do not contribute significantly to the model's predictive power. This is often done using techniques like cost complexity pruning, where a cost function is used to assess the impact of removing a particular tree. Tree pruning helps prevent overfitting in decision tree models, ensuring that the tree captures the essential pattern in the data. without memorizing noise. Thank you.